Hi guys and gals, and welcome back to another Borkino game video. Today's video is dedicated to some beginner tips and some tricks. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to this video. Let's get to it. So the first things first, if you click your character, you can actually change, the character who's like on the main screen. You can change their background as well. You can change whether they're like pause or, in their idle animation. There will also be a little mailbox right here. Make sure to click it. Once you click it, you'll actually get gifts, like sometimes random gems and everything, so that's really cool. So the leader bar is something that unlocks later on, and if you're wondering how to get different leaders, it'll actually tell you if you click the plus button. It'll say beat XYZ collab streams. It doesn't tell you which specific collab streams, like for example, this doesn't say which ones will get it, but for this in particular, first clearance of collab streams XYZ, you will get, the paladin shards to get pretty much the bulkiest leader in my opinion. He's probably the best leader in the game if you want a leader who can, survive everything, which is what you want a leader to do. Next, let's go over partners. So there's a lot of different types of characters, right? So if you actually click the character and then go right here, these are the different types. Now, this is obviously like a triangle of like who beats what. I just want us to know what each role does. So attack, units that have this symbol on them, they're usually single target based, alright? And they are made to essentially deal the most damage to one particular target. Sorks are used to hit like the entire grid, columns, 3x3s. Ideally the Sork hits the entire grid though, but they usually deal the most damage in that front. But attackers usually do a little bit better than them, and they have higher modifiers. For the most part, guardians are just used to protect your leader, that's pretty self-explanatory. Light units are used to buff characters, and then spell targets are usually used to debuff. Generally speaking, they can play other roles, like for example, Miyuki's a spell type or a dark type, as I like to call it, and she can actually debuff, right? And then healers and summoners, pretty self-explanatory. Some summoners can actually buff as well and debuff, so, feel free to look at that. Now let's talk about dupes really quick. Lenses. So lenses is essentially the dupe system in this game, and if you click right here, you can actually access what dupes do. So for example, I got a dupe of Miyuki, and now she has plus 55% attack to Fortune Caller. That's her unique skill. So you can actually see here the attribute boost thanks to the lenses. For example, I got 347 attack, all these different stats. It's really good stuff, and make sure to check out the lens chest. This will be a way to unlock shards for other, 5-star SSR characters and everything, so you can eventually unlock a character, right? And then you'll unlock equipping gear later on. Feel free to level up the purple gear if you so happen to do so. Just don't go too crazy leveling everything up, like all the gear, because you will replace this eventually as you progress in the game. But in the early game, don't be too afraid, because you have enough gold to spend, but just don't invest too much on every single character. And the reason why Miyuki is really good, in case you guys are wondering, you can see right here, anger debuff, that's her ability. Pretty much what happens is rage is the meter to cast the unique skill. So whenever she's on the field, she can essentially decrease rage meter by 330. Every single one of her attacks, all of her attacks do it. And the reason why she's so good, at max limit break is because she reduces rage by 200, an extra 200. So it'll be like 530 like reduction in rage. She's pretty broken, once she gets her like 5-star form, I would like to say. So, if you can get dupes of Miyuki, you're going to be in a really good spot for like all of PvE and PvP, alright? And then make sure to look out for SR characters. Pan is like the SR version of Maki. She's a good assassin unit, so she'll hit like one target super hard. Every empty position on the battlefield is pretty much 4.5% attack to her. So the more empty spots, the better, and she'll deal like crazy amounts of damage. Next, let's talk about the album. So if you want to build intimacy, you pretty much just give them gifts, and then it's important to give them gifts, give them like the red heart gifts. The more intimacy you build, the more likely you're gonna get, the diamond chest right there. If you haven't seen it before, this is how it looks like. Open this. I've shown it in another video, and you pretty much collect the reward and get some diamonds, right? So intimacy is very important in the future. Make sure to check every single character. Pretty much if you summon a character, you can build intimacy with them in the album. Next, let's go over the actual shop itself. Make sure to, collect your dailies right there. Really quick, let's talk about exchange, right? You can exchange stuff right there. The diamond, no. The gear system right here, always get the amplification gems. Never get the random pieces of gear. It's never worth it. The reason why is because these gems are used to enhance your gear in the future. So make sure you you know, focus on enhancing the current gear that you have instead of trying to build too many things at once, right? Because it's going to be like a waste of time. You might as well just upgrade the SSR gear that you acquire versus trying to randomly get one, right? So that's what I suggest over there. In the quest menu, eventually you'll unlock the personal achievement section. If you beat dreams, you know, go to this overview section and you'll get all of these gems. It's absolutely wonderful. Muscipula. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about is don't be afraid to invest in the early game into everything. And in the idle feature, just take note that, you know, there's little percentage bars. You know, you get +3, +4. This is how much extra energy I get and the extra intimacy between all the different characters for them sitting here, right? So make sure to, you know, like leave characters in here that have the highest bonuses. Ideally, I would focus on the Otaku room, the EXP room, just because EXP is super important. You know, because, you know, this is actually used to level your characters and you want to level up as many characters as possible. But, you know, keep it to a select few, you know, 2 damage dealers, 1 healer, and 1 tank in the beginning. And of course, you can branch yourself out as we get more in the future. Let's go into trials and talk about a few things. Daily trials, right? This is really, really important. So roof training, this is essentially a single target DPS check. So what happens here is you essentially have to deal as much damage as possible to the enemy leader, and whatever remaining HP that's left over, you will get higher rewards, right? So make sure to just, like, you know, kill that leader, you know, deal as much damage to a single target. Bounty mission is super different. Also, really quick, roof training is also the EXP dungeon. You can see, you know, the rewards are EXP like pots, right? So just in case you're wondering what it actually is, outside of single targets, also the EXP dungeon. Bounty mission is your gold dungeon, and essentially what happens here is there's going to be a bunch of cats. And note that you will lose a little gold for using raid, which raid is essentially when you use skip tickets, right? And this is based off of AoE damage. You'll see that, you know, Sorks and like the debuffers and like light units or spell units, they will be the premier units. They will, you know, do more damage and all that stuff. Damage rate is also known as attack in this game. So make sure to, you know, spam AoE and just kill all the cats that are appearing there. And then which operation is actually the most different one? You know, you acquire crystals to upgrade stuff in Muscipula, and your leader will also use the crystals to level up, right? So in stage tips, you can see here at the bottom, your goal will be make sure the remaining HP of allied partners in the back are essentially high so you can deal more damage. It'll say right here, 2 extra siege units which can kill mobs will be placed in the back row. So ideally, you know, defend those 2 units in the back so that you can essentially survive the witch operation, right? So, at first I didn't understand either. So once I figured that out, these different, like, you know, daily trial modes made so much more sense and what their purposes was. Exploration is pretty self-explanatory. The thing that I wanted to show us here is that, you know, essentially what you can get that's so amazing is you can get gear here, right? So that's really awesome. You know, gear and gear growth items come here daily, right? But most of all, if you click the notebook right here, you'll actually see tips from players. You know, do not eat the characters. You know, I actually haven't Chris the Frog before, and I did get extra rewards for that. So make sure, you know, if you are going to a particular stage, check the notebook right here to get some extra tips so you can, you know, beat the stage. And note that, you know, while doing auto, you will not complete quests. So, you know, try to just play the actual game, exploration. That's how you increase your rank there. It's super cool. Right, and then as far as Arcana go, this is like a probably in-depth system that I'll go over more in the future. I'll leave a Google Sheets down in the description if you want to check it out, but for the most part, this is a great place to get dupe shards for SSR characters, and it's a very important place that you want to unlock as soon as possible. Arcana's right. Dream Expedition, I haven't really unlocked that yet. Nightmare Lab is super cool. It's pretty much like a practice mode and teaches you how to better play the game. You know, you'll be locked between like a certain set of characters and you can't, you know, use your own roster. So it's a good way. I would say it's a good like tutorial system. Make sure to check it out because, you know, you just get free shards, free stuff, and it's a really good time, IMO. The guild system is very, very important. The reason why the guild system is so important is because the more you invest, the more you can do summons. And the more you can do summons, you know, the better off you will be. Essentially, the gems that you put into the actual guild summons will go back to you. So I believe, not this one, the contribution summoning is pretty much where it's at. So make sure to raise your guild level as soon as possible. The higher guild will be, the better off you will be, like in the long run, right? Next, let's go over the actual summoning system. What happens is when you summon an SSR, once like the star hits, the lake water will turn gold, right? Once the lake water turns gold, if your diamond flashes gold and then beats more after, then you're good. If your diamond flashes gold once, then it's not an SSR, right? That's the SSR animation. Takes a little bit longer. It's not very apparent. I'm pretty sure there'll be more cues and later down in the game, but for now that's the way it works. Of course, I'm pretty sure this is how you redeem codes. If you're wondering, I do have a code for the actual channel. If you do, it's hashtag IC Borkano. There's like my code right there. I've already claimed my own, so if you want to claim codes, this is how you claim codes. There's other codes like hashtag DC 1000, 3000, and 5000. I've already claimed like all of them, right? There's a thread on Reddit, and I'll link it in the description and in the comments with all the codes. But it's funny how the content creators were supposed to give out the codes, but it was really easy to predict what redemption codes there were. So I don't blame people for like slowly figuring out what the codes are. But if you're a content creator and you wanted to give out those codes exclusively for a video, I understand. But the cat's out the bag, right? People figure it out. It's pretty easy to figure out once you got your own. But that's pretty much it for this video. The biggest thing that I want us to take away from this is make sure to raise SRs that you have dupes for. SRs can outscale SSRs if the SSR does not have dupes on them, right? Just because, like, for example, on Pan, once she gets, her lenses and she gets extra dupes, she's gonna get increased crit rate. She's gonna restore, like, rage so she can keep doing flurry over and over again. Essentially, like, it's like these characters become crazy as soon as they get dupes. So even rare units, like for example, like one of the best rare units I've seen is Shanti in story mode, because she's invincible for the first 15 seconds and it's kind of annoying. I feel like that would be super annoying if you saw this in PvP and you couldn't get around her. Maki could literally tank her for 15, like she could tank Maki for 15 seconds. But anyways, that's it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, and I will see you in the next one.